It always works for her, it never works for me. So that tells you the story. I usually have to search it out by getting into Stark County and going and zooming and zooming.
Now, I have found that if you use the zip code, this program works.
She's going up to the top under area of interest.
This is the area of interest. And then I'm going to, the house is situated here. And so I'm going to take into account that I want to view the soils on either side of him. And his property line goes back to this tree line. So that's the area that I picked. Now you have to give it a few minutes and to load that. So it's creating your area of interest right now.
And then, just to clarify, is that soil survey dot?
If you just Googled web soil survey, it'd be the first thing that comes up.
Yeah. Then you go, now that you've got the hash marked area, that's the area that you pick. You go up here to soil map. Click on it. Here's his soils on his parcel. And he has a nice cross section through a high to a low area. 58% of his parcel is covered by Canfield silt loam, which is a glacial soil, 2 to 6% slope. So right there you've got slope. Then the Loudonville silt loam, which is the sandstone base, that's this area right here. His home is here. His neighbor's house is sitting up a little bit higher. There's like a ridge of sandstone underneath that home. So this is us sloughing that sandy material actually into a corner of his parcel. And so when I dug down into the side that the leach line's there, I actually had a sandy lens in that. So it's probably what his old leach lines are set in, was that sandy lens. The leach lines on this parcel were set, tanks are situated here, and this is, the lines go out here. What I looked at when I went there was like, okay, where's the best soils on the parcel? This happens to be a Worcester silt loam. That nice bright red, you know it's well drained, you've got oxygen in it. That's where I went and did the test holes, and I found interbedded sands with silts. Perfect. That's what I want. The sands will give me capacity, the silts will give me treatment. Down in here, falls off, SB. If you see a soil that has 2 letters on it, that means it's a hydric soil. It floods frequently. So you want to stay away from anything that has just 2 letters. The 3rd letter on this indicates the slope. So this and the D2, that would indicate that there's some erosion going on that soil. The C slope, what is that? 2 to 6. On the B, on the CDB, that would be 2 to 6% slope. If I've got C, I've got this is 6 to 12. Even better, because I've got really good drainage there. I've got a crown of a slope. I'm dropping off. So I've got his replacement area picked out because right now he doesn't have to do repair. We figured out that the system is going to function for him a little bit longer. But I thought this was a really good example of how I went about looking at a parcel. So, yeah. Now the other thing on this is if you want to learn a little bit more about that soil unit, you can click on that. That's the arrow. And this will give you a little bit more description as to what's going on there. It actually gives you mean precipitation, how many days of frost free you have, what your temperature is, what your landform is. In this case, it's till moraine. Your position is usually summit or an upland. That's a good drainage position to be in. What your slope shape is. In this case, it's linear, and what the parent material is a till. Your slope, you're moderately well drained. This gives you a little bit more idea before you even hit the ground. What am I up against? You know, what's the sanitarian going to come out here and look at? in a hole. So this saves me, when I figure if I spend 15 minutes looking this information up, this probably saves me an hour in the field.
Debbie,
Mm-hmm.
how accurate is it?
You know, it's very good. I think what they've probably done with this is not only do they look at, they're doing like aerial, so they can do like infrared, UV. They can look at mineralogy from the air, whereas we can't do that. I don't have an X-ray machine out there, and I can't put soil in an X-ray machine and tell you what the components are. But with the equipment that they've got, they can do spectroscopy from above, and they can tell you what soil types are also by the chemistry. But you know, each one of these soils has got a chemical fingerprint, and so these are pretty accurate.
Not perfect.
No, but
You get out to some, and they aren't what you expect.
but when you get out there, what you want to look at is, okay, am I in a good drainage position? I had an installer send me something 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, no, we're not putting it there. He's like, why? Because you put it in the middle of a swell. You can't do that. You're going to, a swell, it just funnels all the water right into that system area, and that's not going to work for you. It's going to fail. You want to put something in that's going to work. You don't want that callback. Neither do I.
Is there any other questions we can answer about soils? I hope that helped a little bit. Yeah.
On a mock situation, a builder calls you and says, I'm pressing a house for somebody at such and such address. What should I figure for the septic system?
I'm not going to tell you that. And you'd be unwise to give them a number.
Yeah.
I believe.
But my question is, can you get online and look at the soils?
You can try, but problem here, I'll give you the big problem with doing that. I mean, you can try it, but you might shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
A Canfield soil. Let's just take Canfield,
Because it's so variable.
the most common soil in this county. The depth to restricting layer on a Canfield can vary between 30 inches deep to 16 inches deep. And if you base it on a 30-inch deep restricting layer, and it really is 16, and you're sticking up out of the ground, and you've got a mound instead of a leach system in the ground, you're gonna get hurt. So I wouldn't recommend anything until I saw a site review come back. At that point, a lot of guys have some, okay, I know roughly what I'm dealing with. This is helpful when you go out for replacement or where to place things or trying to find the best soil on the property. I wouldn't go so far as to give bids off of it. That probably would be a bad idea. So,
The other thing that you can do when you're sitting there doing this is go to the engineer's website. How many of you know how to do that? You know how to go to the engineer's website?
well, we got to go out here. It's 5 after 10. You want to know how to go to the engineer's website, stay after. You can Google Stark County
There.
Engineer and go there and see some of their contour maps. Guys, we want to get you out of here. It's 5 after already. So unless there's any more questions, make sure you signed in. We're going to send out all your CEUs forms with your registration. Hopefully, if everybody's got 6, it'll just come out to you. If not, make sure you gather up the rest of those. And unless there's any other questions, you all have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.